Greetings, beautiful earthlings. My name is Star. If you are new here, I don't know how you found me, but I'm super grateful to have you. And if you are returning, y'all the real MVP, you already know. So my friends, I want to do a quick update for you guys. Those of you who are following along with me on the Thoth tarot journey. Thoth, however you say it, okay? So if you have just stumbled on this video, that's a weird one, I'm sorry. But we are talking here about the Aleister Crowley deck. The Thoth tarot was originally called like the Book of Thoth. So as you guys know, I said this in the last one, I have been doing like a crazy deep dive on Aleister Crowley. I have been doing a deep dive on Hermeticism, the Kabbalah, and all of this information I've been getting from Lon Milo DuQuette, who is the oldest living member of Aleister Crowley's OTO. So there's so much that goes into this because Lon Milo is a Mason. Okay, so he has a lot to talk about here from the perspective of a Mason, as also someone who has been a part of Aleister Crowley's OTO. He knows a lot about magic. He knows a lot about Hermeticism and Kabbalah and all of that. Okay, so I told you guys this before in the other one. If you don't know who Aleister Crowley is, he is definitely a horse of another color. So you guys are going to be getting a lot of judgmental information on Aleister Crowley if you are looking into this deck. And I want you to understand you have to dig for this information, especially if you're doing it on an algorithm-based platform such as YouTube. You're going to get a lot of it was really hard to find information, let me put it that way, because everything you find the second you start looking up Aleister Crowley is talking about him being a Satanist. So for those of you guys who might not delve into the world of witch talk, that might be very, oh my goodness, no to you, right? Especially those of you guys who were raised very religiously. So I want to make it known that if you are looking into the Thoth tarot and Aleister Crowley, you're going to have very thick skin. You're going to have to be able to let all of that roll off of you, all of that really old bias, all of that really old judgment, all of that religion-based fear stuff. You gotta let that roll off of you and keep digging, because all of the things that you want to learn about tarot, about how the Kabbalah and Hermeticism tie into tarot, about magic, things like that, Aleister Crowley is the master of all of them. And Lon Milo is a very great person to listen to when it comes to those things. I'm not saying follow in Aleister Crowley's footsteps. I'm not saying follow in Lon Milo's footsteps. I'm saying observe the dark realm, but be not of it. So that's kind of the approach that I'm taking here with this stuff, because you guys know I do personally work with, angels and my Father God Yahweh and Mother Goddess Aset and, Happy Buddha and like things like that. I'm very, very on the light spectrum, but I understand that, tarot and divination and witchcraft takes a lot of seeking knowledge. And within that, it means that I have to be able to seek knowledge and do research without bias. Okay, so that's very important for those of you guys who are following me on this journey. I don't want you guys to get mad and be like, you're making me follow a Satanist and things like that. Because I'm not telling you guys to follow any of this. I'm not telling you guys that this is what you need to do to be into tarot, because I made it very clear in my last one where I started talking about this deck that there are quite a few different systems of reading tarot. If you guys don't want anything to do with Aleister Crowley, you don't want to learn about any of that stuff, you don't have to. You don't have to learn tarot, okay? You can stay on the Rider-Waite-Smith side of tarot, but you will still need to tiptoe around things like astrology and Kabbalah and Hermeticism. The more you dig into tarot, the more you dig into your tarot meanings and your tarot iconography and your history and you know, if you guys decide to go that far with tarot, if you just want to read the cards and you don't care anything about the history or any of that, that's fine. I am not here to tell you how to do tarot. Technically, you're just kind of taking the tarot journey with me, right? So that's what I'm doing on my tarot journey right now, is learning about the Thoth tarot. Okay, so that's why we're here. That's what we're talking about. I had to do a lot of prefacing, just because I know a lot of you guys are going to come at me in the comments, in whether you find this video now, 5 years in the future, what have you. There's going to be a lot of, I can't believe you're teaching beginners to follow a Satanist. No, I'm not. No, I am not. You do not need to ever pick up the Thoth tarot a day in your life to read tarot, okay? Especially because it is such a different system of reading. So if you guys have not seen my previous video where I talked about my first impressions of the Thoth tarot, please go watch that one. I'll put it in the description box for you guys, and you don't have to keep watching what I'm going to talk about regarding this deck if you don't want to, okay? So for those of you guys who are interested in what I have learned about this tarot deck, I will link below some sources in the comment section, so that you can kind of follow my trail of knowledge, okay? If you're interested in learning this and you don't quite have the deck yet, it's okay. You don't need to have the deck. You don't need to ever get the deck. If you're just really interested in what it is I'm looking into, you know, you can go watch those videos. They have examples of all the cards and things like that in there, so you don't need to have the deck, okay? But the first thing that I learned about this deck, after watching a whole lot of information about the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, let me just say it's very hard to explain these things to you guys because I still don't have a firm grasp on them myself. I have rewatched the video of Lon Milo explaining the Tree of Life quite a few times because other people don't quite explain it the way that he does. I really love it. It really helps a whole lot. And then the second I walk away from it, it's like I didn't learn a thing. So the Tree of Life and the Kabbalah have a lot to do with this tarot deck specifically. I'll say that. And this tarot deck also has a lot of Egyptian imagery in it, because there are people such as Aleister Crowley who believe that the tarot originated in Egypt. Before, there was not a lot of proof to support that theory. Now people are digging things up that resemble tarot in Egypt. So a lot of people believe that, you know, tarot started in Italy or, you know, France or whatever. Everyone has their different beliefs about where the tarot originated and when the tarot originated. But as you guys know, Thoth is the keeper of knowledge. So clearly it would have Egyptian connotation with it in this deck. There is also a lot entwined in this deck that has to do with Kabbalah, hermetics, astrology, and, you know, Aleister Crowley and his OTO and whatnot. But I feel like Aleister Crowley did a good job of not particularly entwining his OTO in this deck. So the first thing that I want to point out on this deck is on the bottom of your majors. Ooh, you can't even see that because this deck is tiny. Let's see if I can get you in there. Man, you cannot. I'm really sorry, you guys. I thought you could see that. You guys can see there's two tiny little specks there. I can see that that's what you can see. If you look up images of these cards, I might be able to, like, magically in editing insert a picture of one of these cards so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But at the bottom of these cards, there are two different symbols in the majors only, because these majors are all connected to the Tree of Life. So not all of them, I think it's 12 of them that have to do with the Tree of Life, that are actually connected to the Tree of Life. So some of these have like little, I want to say Jewish symbols on them, and a planetary symbol. Those are the ones that directly correlate to the Tree of Life. Some of these have like a planetary symbol and then like a zodiac symbol, I think. So like I said, there's only like 12 of them. Yeah, there's the Aries one has, it has a Jewish symbol, and then it has the Aries symbol. So the astrological zodiac symbols are all very entwined throughout this deck. all over this deck, all over this imagery, but I think it's very important to note that specifically your majors do have those little symbols at the bottom where the name is, and a lot of people might not even notice them, nor would they question them, unless you guys know Jewish. I don't know what the language is. I don't know what the symbols are, to be honest, but that's what those symbols are. And I want to say Kabbalistic symbols. I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I am. But that's why some of them in your majors have planetary symbols. Some of them have zodiac symbols. And then some of them have weird inscription language symbols, right? That's what they are, okay? Because they correlate to different parts of the tree of life. And on the back of your deck here, you have this cross, right? I'm so sorry you guys can't really see it on my camera, but in the center of this cross there is another cross. And in the tiny center of that cross, maybe I can pop in a little picture here for you guys. But in the center of that cross there is a rose. Okay, and then coming from the rose and the cross, there are leaves, much like these leaves out here on the outside. So what Lon Milo has called this is your map of the tarot. In essence, like your table of contents. So these all correlate with different things. Okay, so I'm so sorry you guys cannot freaking see this. It's so tiny. So your rose has a whole thing by itself. The inner cross has a whole thing by itself. You can see there's 3 colors there, right? And those colors correspond here, the yellow and the yellow. However, the blue and the red are switched in there. And then you have petals of these flowers. The numbers of the petals are 3, 7, and 12. Again, those are numbers that have to do with Kabbalah and the tree of life and stuff like that. But they also correlate to your zodiac signs, your planets, and some about the tree of life. Again, like I said, watch those reference videos that I'm putting down there for you guys. It explains it 1,000 times better than I could. But what I'm getting at here is that every color on this cross, every little thing that's in here represents something, okay? These are also your elements here, the colors of the cross. So just looking at those tiny details right now, just barely diving into this deck, you have a table of contents of the tarot on the back, and you have all these tiny little symbols that talk about where these majors correspond with the tree of life on the front. That can already tell you how much goes into these cards. So like I had told you guys in the last one, how the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery has about 10 hidden images in each card. These ones have like 20 or 30. Like there's just so much that goes into each of the images of these cards. And that's why Aleister Crowley was working Lady Frida like a workhorse to get these images the way that he wanted them to be, okay? Because it's very important that they symbolize the things that he saw, that he had visions of, that he wanted them to symbolize, etc., etc. They're beautiful works of art, okay? I promise you guys, you will not be disappointed if you decide to start delving into this. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys is that the court cards of this deck are, okay, for those of you guys who did not watch my other one, I'm gonna say, I have said this, but this deck is not remotely in line with the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's a completely different system of reading tarot. So don't think you can jump into this deck and just read with it because you know the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. This takes a lot of studying, okay? So for those of you guys who have a hard time with the changing up of the suits, what I mean by that is you would normally have page, knight, queen, king, right? Some people get thrown off when the page turns into a stave or a princess, or, you know, whatever. This deck switches it up on us yet again. So you have the princess, you have the prince, you have the queen, and you have the knight. Your knights are your kings in this deck. really blew me out of the water when I saw that one. So this is about hierarchy. In this deck, it's about family hierarchy. So, you know, there's just so much to learn about before you even jump into this deck. Those videos that I have linked down there in the comments are going to help you out a whole lot, especially if you have the time to dedicate to sitting and avidly watching them, avidly listening. Do not put them on in the background. You're going to be so lost. You need to actually pay good attention to them and watch them very closely, because it's kind of like watching the Da Vinci Code. You take your eyes off of it for a second, you're real lost. Okay, so I know that wasn't a lot of what I've learned about the deck, but that's because I'm trying to wrap my head around the Tree of Life and Kabbalah and Hermeticism, all of this before I even start learning about the deck, because I know it's going to help me to have a base knowledge of all of that, especially because my college course, my tarot course that I've been taking, the advanced tarot course, I kind of hit a wall with it where I had to learn about the Hermetic Tree of Life, and I mean the Kabbalah Tree of Life and Hermeticism, and I could not freaking understand any of that language for the life of me. So it's actually corresponded pretty well with where I am in my course right now, where I needed to learn this, and I just so happen to be looking into it because of this deck. So that really helped me. Now I can finally like understand what it is they're talking about, and I can finally move forward onto Carl Jung in my course, because it's been driving me nuts just not moving, just because I didn't understand the Tree of Life. It's very hard to understand for anyone who does not study Kabbalah, and please understand there are different aspects of the Kabbalah. There's Jewish Kabbalah, there is Hermetic Kabbalah, there is Christian Kabbalah, there's a lot. Okay, so like I said, this is going to take years for you to learn and research and understand and learn to work with well. So if you guys are able to have the resource of having the book, Understanding the Thoth Tarot by Lon Milo DuQuette, that's going to help you a lot with this deck. I am not yet in a position to get that book, so that's why I'm kind of going through all of these avenues to learn as much as I can without it. But even so, I probably still wouldn't be able to pay much attention to the language in the book because it's so over my head. But that's what I like about listening to Lon Milo, is he's been a speaker for how freaking long. So he's very captivating. He knows how to speak well, and you know, that vernacular doesn't go over your head too much, because he knows how to really water it down with examples and things like that for people who have no idea what he's talking about, because he has been a speaker for a very long time for a lot of different organizations. So if you guys are following me on this journey, I mean, good luck. It's hard. It's real hard. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've been going cross-eyed watching these videos, and I have to keep taking breaks from them and literally watching garbage just to like decompress my brain, because I am in no state of mind whatsoever right now to be doing anything. Like, I have no energy, I have no motivation, and then add all of the readings I've been doing on top of learning all of this stuff. I feel like I'm in college all over again. I just feel like I don't have the tools to study properly. So it's going to be a slow moving train. But if you guys are with me on it, if you guys have found any other resources, or if you guys are like already masters of the Thoth Tarot and you have suggestions or resources, definitely drop them down below for me and your fellow Earthlings that are trying to learn this deck, because we need all the help we can get doing this one, my dudes. But I really appreciate those of you guys who are sticking around with me on my content lately, and I really appreciate those of you guys who stuck around with me to the end of this video. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. You know, that helps me out so very much. Don't forget, you can check out my links in the link tree in the description box all the way at the very bottom. And yeah, I think that's what I got for you today, my friends. So I really hope that wherever you are when this video reaches you, you have a beautiful, wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Namaste.